I feel compelled to raise my voice to everyone who will hear or see this video today. We are at a turning point. To all those who are willing to awaken, arise, to come to higher ground, a tsunami is coming, but so are the greatest miracles the world has ever seen. Raise your voice, unite with all Christians, and come unto Christ and be born again.
But I do know that the Lord is prompting me to urge us to get ready for that great and dreadful day.
Welcome to Searching Isaiah. I'm your host, Randy Brown. This will be a short series of insights on Isaiah for those who desire to have eyes to see and gain the spirit of prophecy in these end times. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week's edition of Searching Isaiah. Would like to share my experience from this week and how the Lord has led me to these verses in this chapter that I'd like to discuss. And this will probably be a shorter video. But the question I would like to pose to the listeners today is, did Isaiah see the turning point that America is at now? And like all of you, the events that took place here in Utah with the assassination of Charlie Kirk has been heavy and dark. I think most of us have felt it. If we're spiritually sensitive, I think it's been a very dark thing. And so I went to the temple. I'd been struggling over what to cover in our Isaiah episode this week. And as I was I guess seeking light, the Lord opened up something to me. I was in the celestial room and opened the scriptures, and it opened right to 2 Nephi chapter 15, which is the same as Isaiah chapter 5. And so I'd like to run through this and share some of my thoughts on it, and would love your comments in the comment section. I think particularly about are our eyes being open to where the country really is right now. So this is from Isaiah chapter 5, starting in verse 1. It says, "Let me sing for my beloved a love song about his vineyard." And we know the vineyard is Israel, is the house of Israel. But he's singing this is a love song about his people. My beloved had a vineyard on a fertile brow on a hill. He cultivated it, clearing it of stones, and planted it with choice vines. I've colored choice in yellow because that I think that represents his intention for America to be a place where the fullness of the gospel could be restored. It could go forth to all the world. His covenant people could flourish and become the kings and queens that we've talked about. He built a watchtower in its midst, and he hewed for it a winepress as well. Then he expected it to yield grapes, but it produced wild grapes. So I want to share a quote for you. I believe in this parable, the vineyard is representing the house of Israel in America. The United States of America was supposed to protect the rights and liberties of its people. The Constitution was set up as a divinely inspired document for that purpose. However, rather than seeking to protect the Constitution and freedoms of the land, the stewards of the land were more concerned about the vineyard's treasury than its trees. The similarity between these stewards and those of the Jewish elders and princes is noted. The slothfulness of the vineyard's caretakers permitted the Lord's enemies to ravish, to destroy that which was precious to the master. Therefore, to redeem his vineyard, the Lord of the vineyard calls his warriors. Anyway, that was something from Michael Rush's book. Verse 3, now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and you men of Judea. So this is talking about, again, his covenant people, people who have entered into covenant with the Lord. Please judge between me and my vineyard. I think this is saying, judge between me, your Savior, and what's going on now in my vineyard. So I really believe Isaiah is seeing the point that we're at right now, and what is coming, what's at the doorstep. Verse 4, what more could have been done for my vineyard than I have done for it? If you think about it, America has been the most blessed and protected and prosperous nation that's ever existed upon the planet. And, the Lord did that for a purpose. I remember as a child or a young man, I grew up in Houston, Texas, and every Sunday as we went to church, our next door neighbors who were Catholics were going to their church. Baptists were going to their church. We had churches all over the area, and nearly everybody went to church. They believed in God. I think they had these traditions of America being a covenant land. Um, and moving on here, when I expected it to yield grapes, why did it produce wild grapes? Again, grapes are colored in yellow. um, he's trying to produce celestial people, and yet this nation has. I colored wild grapes in red because that has to do with Babylon. Has our nation descended into Babylon? And here I tried to create a little bit of a visual of the vineyard instead of ascending in their relationship with Christ, actually descended to a celestial level and became mixed with Babylon. They were wild grapes. Moving on to verse 5, let me now inform you what I will do to my vineyard. I will have its hedge removed and let it be burned. So we know that Babylon is going to be burned. Babylon is going to be destroyed. That God is a God of justice. And I don't believe he's an angry God or a vengeful God, but he's a God of justice. And so he lets the wicked. I will have its wall broken through and let it be trampled. This sounds very much to me as if he's removing this hedge of protection that America's had, because it's been a Christian nation. And the time's going to come, as you study Isaiah, you'll see that this land will be invaded. And I will make it a desolation, and it shall neither be pruned nor hoed, but briars and thorns shall overgrow it. I put briars and thorns in red, the Babylon category. We could also say the tares. It shall be overgrown by tares, which in D&C 86 is synonymous with the church, the whore of Babylon, the church of the devil. Moreover, I will forbid the rain clouds to rain upon it. Something like famine, like drought. I was up at the Bountiful Temple the other day looking out, and the Great Salt Lake used to come all the way in almost to the freeway. And we used to have some of the most beautiful sunsets in the evening where the lake would just light up as the sun is setting. And now it's just desolation. There's nothing there. The vineyard of Jehovah of hosts is the house of Israel, and the people of Judah, which I would say are his covenant people here on this land, his cherished grove. He expected justice, but there was injustice. What's happened to our justice system? He expected righteousness, but there was an outcry. And I think that's particularly what I saw this week that was so troubling, um, was the response to something so horrible, something so unjust, something so unrighteous. There was an outcry against someone who was trying to uh, be a valiant, be valiant in his testimony of Jesus Christ. Woe to those who suppose what is evil to be good and what is good evil. I mean, this couldn't be more perfectly depicted in the events of this week. Um, something evil. People maybe not actually murderers, but rejoicing in murder. They put darkness for light and light for darkness. They make bitterness sweet and sweet bitter. So this is where we kind of see we see what's happening, and it's very painful to watch. And we've learned from our Isaiah study so far that eventually the king of Assyria, this antichrist figure, um, will marshal his forces and bring them against the whore of Babylon. The uh, the king of Assyria hates whore of Babylon, wants to destroy it and take the beast kingdom to himself. Therefore, the anger of Jehovah is kindled against his people. That phrase, his people, is very telling. That means when he says his people, then Isaiah is talking about his covenant people. He draws back his hand. Again, have that engraved because it's referring to this king of Assyria. Draws back his hand against them and strikes them. The mountains quake. Mountains is frequently used as a term representing nations. So the nations quake and their corpses lie like litter about the streets. And yet, for all this, his anger is not abated. His hand is upraised still. So I don't know about all of you, but I feel even more of a desire to raise my voice in the time we live in and to testify of Jesus Christ, to bear testimony of the things that I have been so blessed with, that I know to be true, that I've been taught. Um, and I hope we can do this in a way that wakes many up that still need to be awakened. Verse 26, he raises an ensign to distant nations. He summons them from beyond the horizon. So we've looked at that word ensign, and this is where Isaiah at times will use a code name. He'll use it in one way to refer to his left hand, the king of Assyria, and other times to refer to his servant. Um, and so in this instance, we're coloring it in gray because it's referring to the king of Assyria, the arch tyrant, and summons them. I have that in gray because it's referring to his his alliance of nations that will join him and that will come from beyond the horizon. Forthwith, this alliance of nations, comes swiftly and speedily. So this strike against the whore of Babylon um, will come quickly and swiftly, and we I think these are just things we need to be aware of. We need to understand what Isaiah saw, what he's testifying of. And here's an example of how he uses parallels to help us better see what he's saying. Uh, and so this is from Isaiah 13:2. Raise the ensign. So here's using that word ensign on a barren mountain. Sound the voice among them. So he's comparing ensign to voice. Beckon them with the hand to advance into the precincts of the elite. And this is the desire of uh, this arch tyrant, the king of Assyria, to destroy the elite who have been playing the part of the whore of Babylon, and funding both sides of wars. Everything's about you know it's about money. It's about power. Anyway, so I wanted to keep this one short today. There was a lot we could talk about, but I feel like this kind of ties into what we're seeing, and I think it's just amazing that Isaiah has seen these things, and gives us these warnings. I feel compelled to raise my voice to everyone who will hear or see this video today. We are at a turning point. To all those who are willing to awake and arise, to come to higher ground, a tsunami is coming, but so are the greatest miracles the world has ever seen. Raise your voice, unite with all Christians, and come unto Christ and be born again.